Okay, today we're going to look at determining the part when given the percent and total. So we have three different methods that we have learned throughout the year to solve problems like this. So the first one we're going to look at is the very first one we learned, which was the percent bar. The problem is, what is 40% of 50? So when we use a percent bar, our first step is to draw our rectangle and put in what we know. So we know 100% is 50. So here's our 50 and our 100%. Well, I know I can get half of 100 pretty easy, so I divide by 2. I have 50%. Whatever I do on the bottom, I'm going to do on the top. So I'm going to find half of 50, which is 25. So right away, I know that my answer is going to be less than 25. So the next thing that we typically have done is we find half of this, which is our 25%. 25%. So whatever I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top, so I have to get half of 25. And this isn't going to come out to a whole number, it's going to give us a decimal. So half of 25 is going to be 12.5. So I know 40% of 50 is going to fall in between 12.5 and 25 because 40% falls in between 25 and 50%. The next thing we typically have found in class is 10%. So remember, when we find 10%, we look back at our original total and we move our decimal one place to the left. So if I have an invisible decimal behind the 0, I move it one place to the left. So I have 0.5, or I have 5.0, sorry. So now I have enough information that I can find 40%. So looking at these percentages, what can I do to make 40%? Well, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. The first way that pops out in my head is to take 50% and subtract 10%. And that's going to give me my 40%. So now I need to do the same thing, but with the numbers. So 50% is 25. 10% is 5, so I'm going to subtract 5. And that is going to give me 20. Now, you might have looked at this and said, I think I would rather multiply. I think I'd rather have 4 tenths. So let's try that. If you did 4 times 10%, you would still get 40%. So we're going to keep our 4. 10% is 5, so we have 4 times 5. That gives us 20. So it doesn't matter which way you get your 40%, you're still going to get 20 as your answer. So we have 40% and 20. So this is the first way we learn how to do these problems at the beginning of the year. There are multiple ways. Another way, this is the way y'all typically didn't like, percent pyramid. So we set it up. And I know this is really not a pyramid. It is a triangle. So at the top, this is your part. This right here would be your percent. And this is your total. So if you're given your part, you have to divide. If you are looking for your part, then you multiply. So we put this in. Now I can't multiply 40% like this. I have to make it a decimal, which is what we did in yesterday's lesson. So I just take it and move 1, 2 places to the left, and I have 0.40. You can drop that 0 if you want, times 50. Okay, well, and then 4 times 5 is 20. Here's the part where you may make a mistake. You have to remember to put your decimal back into your answer. So I have 1, 2 places behind the decimal, so I have to go 1, 2 places and put my decimal back in, and I get 20. Different method, same answer. And then the third way, which in the third way doesn't always work out, it depends on if you have friendly numbers or not, is a ratio. So when we set up the ratio, we have part over our total equals our percent over 100. So this is how you would always set it up. And this right here is always going to be 100. So the part is what we don't know. Our total is 50. This is going to be equivalent to our percent, which is 40%. So I'm just going to write 40 over 100. So it's going to work out nicely for this problem because I can look at 50 and say, what do I do to 50 to make it 100? Or what do I do to 100 to make it 50? So if I'm going from 100 to 50, I divide by 2. Whatever I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top to keep it balanced. So 40 divided by 2 is 20. So I showed you, or reminded you, of 3 different methods, each of which you get the same answer. It doesn't matter what method you choose to use. Use what works best for you because you're the one who's doing the assignment. If you have any questions, please ask.